we're trying to emulate a picket line because the Democrats in the state only listen to the unions. So we figured if we try to create a picket line, maybe they wouldn't cross the picket line. If they didn't cross the picket line, then they wouldn't go in for special session. And we know that we can't stop it, but we can't just sit home and say nothing. And I guess the part that irritates most everybody is that in 90 days they had the time to do the people's work. And they left with a balanced budget. And they're calling this a doomsday budget. Well, the budget increased by $700 million. Where's the cuts? Okay, but what they want to do now, they wanted a 3% raise. So they didn't get their 1%, which is the $500 million that they say they're short to get up to that $1.2 billion increase in the state budget. Now, I hardly call that doomsday. And I guess the part that really irritates me is that they shortchanged education and our first responders, knowing that most folks in Maryland are going to say, well, we don't want our teachers to not have enough money. We don't want our first responders to not have enough money. So they intentionally short those three areas, fire, police, and teachers, knowing that the people are going to say, all right, fine, go ahead and give them what they need. But in the meantime, we're spending $1.2 billion, the total of what they wanted in the increase of their budget, on illegal immigrants. And Martin O'Malley likes to call them new Americans. Well, charity begins at home. Why can't they take that $500 million from the money that they have sectioned off for illegal immigrants and put it to our teachers?
Doomsday, no way! Doomsday, no way! Doomsday, no way! Doomsday, no way!
If the General Assembly fails to act on approving the budget items in this special session, it is a huge loss to my students, in particular to me, my colleagues, the services and the programs that are provided for the students and families of Prince George's County, where we have 80 to 100 of our students who are living below the poverty line, and not to mention in every other part of the state of Maryland. Some have dismissed the cuts as simply belt tightening. Not me. I reject that on hand. This belt tightening, it would mean tighter classrooms, for which teachers, we can't afford that.
We've expanded health care to over 300,000 Maryland parents, children, and seniors, saving lots of lives and bringing health care to tens of thousands of people who didn't have it before. This would all be threatened with a doomsday budget. We will be going backwards. Maryland went from 34th in the country to 14th in health care for lower income people. We would go way back if we had a doomsday budget. We can't have that. We have also made tremendous progress over the last 10 years in reducing smoking in our state by increasing cigarette taxes. The budget they're considering now would increase the tax on little cigars and smokeless tobacco and save thousands of kids.
What happened is it will bankrupt our counties. There's a $35 billion balloon coming in 3 years. And the state of Maryland didn't want to get caught holding that time bomb when it goes off. They wanted to pass it on to the counties. A AAA bond rating means one thing. You're willing to tax anybody, any amount, any time. I would much rather have my freedom. I would much rather have our counties have their sovereignty than to have the burden of having to pay that $35 billion that's coming due. Do the responsible thing. Absolutely. Do the responsible thing and pay the burdens that are there. Do what the families have to do and fix your budget.
If we take a look back, Governor Ehrlich's final budget he presented in 2007, $28.8 billion. And every year, Governor O'Malley has refused to live within our means. In 2008, his first budget was $29.6 billion and increased $1 billion all the way up to now. For him to say he's cut spending this year, that's a falsehood. He's not living within our means, and guess who's paying for it? Working class Marylanders. That's who's paying for it. They already have higher gas tax, higher gas prices, higher food prices, higher clothing prices, and who gets hurt? Teachers, nurses, police officers, working class Marylanders just have to pay the bill in the end.